Welcome, everyone. We are in Las Vegas. Very special podcast today. This is episode number 205 of The Flow Show. I am joined by legend, Hall of Famer, Mr. Mori Eskandani, and a lot to talk about. We're going to dive right in. Mori, how are you?
I'm fine. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Of course. Well, I know this is a treat because it is sort of the peak, I would say, busy with what's going on. World Series of Poker main event right now. And, you know, you've been doing streams all summer long. So first of all, tell me, how's that been going? And how did you get away today?
It's going really well. Believe it or not, main events, as big of a production that is, when the production becomes that big, it takes a lot off of my shoulder. So when we were doing the bracelet events, which this year we did just insane amounts, filming, you know, like sometimes 2 streams a day. Sometimes, you know, we even had a day that we did 3 streams at the same time.
Yeah.
And that will keep me busy, just trying to like keep track of things, going around, answering questions, making sure, you know, like the right game is picked up, depending, you know, like how many players are left the night before, what we are doing. That's a lot of conversation. Main event sort of runs itself. And yes, the first day ones and day twos, we are still doing a smaller production with a smaller group. Once the bigger production team comes in, which, you know, like just to give you an idea, we go from 25 to 30 people to 120 people trying to do the main. Then there's like 3 added producers. There's a lot more people that are handling all the aspects of it. And for me, believe it or not, it's easier time. I can find times to do things during the main than during the bracelets.
Interesting. And how could you explain the PokerGO, ESPN main event? How does everything sort of interact, and how does that work?
Well, it used to be ESPN, and ESPN PokerGO, at that time, ESPN was actually even, when they were in play, they were licensing my older company, my previous company, Poker Productions, to do the production for them. They were the content holder, license holder. They would like, it was all about, you know, the network had all the rights, licensing rights and everything else. Now it's different. PokerGO that acquired my older company, and
that's Poker Productions.
Poker Productions, yes. Now Poker Productions is the production arm of PokerGO. So PokerGO production is pretty much, you know, doing everything for the main. But PokerGO is also the network. So the big difference is, you know, on the digital side of things, we're the network. We have all the licensing and everything else, and we have a deal with CBS Sports for the linear side of it. And, of course, ESPN International for the international side of it. So a little bit of a different business model, but believe it or not, a lot more content is being produced and being distributed.
And I gotta understand a little bit more the feature table. So day one, you know, like Helmuth comes in, does his entrance, and there's a seat reserved for him. Do you have his like how does that actually coordinate with like getting Negreanu or Helmuth, or, you know, having the right, like, do you look at a table like, oh wow, this random draw, there's 3-4 guys that are known, we got to put them there. Like, how does that work yesterday with Phil coming in late and getting him in the seat?
We have to get a bit lucky for that to happen the way we wanted it. And yesterday was a little bit of a chaos, you know, because both the heroes that we wanted to bring into the feature tables drew an early break table. Okay. So if, for example, if Phil Hellmuth draws table 322 at Paris, and we know that table is breaking after 20 minutes, bringing him to the feature table is nothing but, it's going to create nothing but, you know, trouble. Because we would have nothing on the feature table. We can't just, after 20 minutes, rush in another you know, table there in the middle of the show. So we were lucky enough, but like Daniel, we couldn't do it because Daniel's table looked like it was going to break. And Phil's table seemed like to be okay for at least, you know, 2 or 3 hours, which it turned out to be just fine. You know, more players came in.
So you can't leave. It's like, it doesn't work. Oh yeah, it's based on order and it has to break. So if it's there, there's nothing you can
obviously
do.
Heroes are number. We want to get our heroes to come in. You know, that's what brings eyeballs. That's what, you know, once you promote, hey, Daniel Negreanu's coming, Ivy is coming, or people, you know, the more eyeballs are drawn to the platform. But we also can't do that if the breaking order is not allowing us. Right. So it's the WSOP will send us the list of, you know, where the table, like who's sitting where. We would have it. We look at it, And sometimes it's very easy. Like last year we never had to make this decision.
And you can't move them if someone like Helmy bought. You can't. You have to. It stays like to the break or whatever. You can't just move a table around.
No,
obviously, you can't. It takes time and effort.
You can't really mess with the integrity of the event.
Yes.
We are here to tell the story. We are not here to mess with to take time away from some people that are playing, or that can't happen.
Right. Interesting. And we kind of dove right into the current. I want to know more about your history. I know you were born in Iran, is that correct?
That's right.
And you moved to Oregon and you were playing poker. How does that? Did you start playing poker in Iran? Did you come here? How did you find poker, and why Oregon?
Well, there was not much poker in Iran. There's definitely not any now officially anyway. I hear there's a lot of home games that people playing. We know Persians love to play poker. It is. I don't have the statistics right off the top of my head, but we've had 3 Persian World Series champion. Wow. And for a small country, in the 50 years of history or 52 years of history, to have 3 champions,
you're saying of a bracelet winner.
I'm talking about main event champion.
Oh yeah. Well,
we had Hamid Dasmalchi, Mansour Matloubi, and Hossein Ensan. Oh, yeah, I understand all of them. Like Hamid was living in the United States at that time, and Mansour was living in UK, and Hossein in Germany. And still does. But they were originally from born in Iran.
And of course, Antonio Esfandiari, the big one drop, one of my best friends who you love. True, very similar to Esfandiari, Eskandani.
Persians love to play poker.
Yes.
I even read somewhere that poker, some sort of it started from Persia. So, I mean, it is possible. 3-card, something they called it. Whatever it was, but anyway, I was born in the Azerbaijan part of the province of Iran.
Okay.
And I'd like to say, and I've said this before, that I was born in Azerbaijan, raised in Tehran, and re-raised in Portland, Oregon. I mean, wow. I'm sorry. I was born in Azerbaijan, moved to Tehran, and was raised in Portland and re-raised in Las Vegas.
And how did you get to why Portland, Oregon, not anywhere in the U.S.?
Well, when at the time that I immigrated here, I was 18. It was 1974. And they asked me, there were a lot of things that they would ask you, why do you want to go? After you qualified to come, after you had the grades and the means or whatever they were looking for you, they would allow you, I'm talking about the government of Iran at that time, allow you to travel. Mm-hmm. And once I qualified, they asked me, what was I looking for? I mean, are you looking for a nice weather? Are you looking for a big school, whatever? And I told them, I'm just looking for good people. Mm-hmm. Believe it or not. I mean, that was the only thing I said. I mean, what would the kids say? At that time? Yeah. And they came back to Portland. So the suggestion came from the Ministry of Education that was sending the foreign students out at that time.
Wow.
And they told me, you want good people, go to Oregon. So if Oregon people, you're listening to me, you were and you still are, but good people, and you were known to be good people.
Wow.
So.
And so you go to Portland, and then where did you had you already played some poker? Or did you find it there?
I played poker when I was 7 years old, and even to this day, if you go out there outside the poker community and talk poker, people would think you're talking about draw poker, right? I mean, yes, we have 30 different variations.
Right.
And Texas Hold'em is obviously very, very well known. But if you really leave the poker community and go to the general population, ask pokers, draw poker. So I learned that when I was 7 years old to play draw poker. Okay. And my cousin taught me, and we played all night, believe it or not. I mean, to me, it was a fascinating game. But I didn't play anything. I didn't play, never anything serious. Even at that time, that was just one thing, once in a while that happened. That we played until I came to Portland State, and right outside of Portland State, Vancouver, Washington had few card rooms, and on weekends I got introduced to go play 5-card stud. Okay. And that's how that was officially to me playing poker and thinking about the game, and all that started in Vancouver, Washington.
And then what made you? And then when did you move to Las Vegas?
I moved to Las Vegas after failed business. I tried to get a food manufacturing company going in Portland. And I was 22 or 23, and nothing went right. Okay. I mean, and of course, I did everything wrong too. On top of it.
And you've been married 45 years. You met your wife in Oregon, or
I met my wife Portland.
Wow.
in Portland, Oregon. Yeah,
Very
and yeah, we've been married soon 45 years.
Wow. And speaking of kid, you said food management. Your daughter, she's local and does food catering. So I had her food at the other day at an event here, and I didn't realize that was your daughter.
Yeah, she graduated from Cordon Bleu long time ago.
Wow.
And she has her own catering service, and
delicious food. I had a lot of it. Yeah.
Kind of got into this, and now she's doing great. I mean, I always ask for be honest opinion, guys. If you don't like her food, we don't have to. No. Make sure you know.
Yeah. No,
of
it
course,
was very good.
My wife's cookies gotten really famous.
Yes, delicious, all delicious
in the circle.
And you so you meet your wife. So you meet your wife, and she knew you played poker a lot because you were actually playing professionally, or no? Or you for a while you were coming to Vegas, and when you lived here, you were playing a lot.
No, well, the whole thing happened in Oregon. I mean, after I graduated from Portland State, I worked for a company, and they paid me for 3 months. They went bankrupt, or they couldn't pay me. I kept on working for them for like 2 or 3 more months, even though I wasn't getting paid because they were struggling. Poker rooms were closed to where I was within walking distance to where the office was. So I would leave at 5 o'clock my office, and I'd go to my night job, I called it, and play until 8 or 9, and then come home. And that 5 to 8 or 9, playing $5 limit hold'em,
Limit hold'em.
I was making enough money playing $5 limit hold'em at that time, and this is I want to say 1979, 79, 80, somewhere there, 79 mostly. I was making enough money at that time just doing that, even though I wasn't getting paid to, get our bills paid and everything. So poker has always had a different meaning to me than most people, I think, because it really I want to say for me it became something that answered. And I had no answer, and poker was the answer for it. I tried to get myself, into some interviews and get a job after, after graduated. It wasn't successful. I mean, it was just whether it was cultural difficulty or whatever it was. I couldn't get myself inside, like in the door of the companies that they were out there, interviewing the graduates and picking them up or whatever. And then the business got started. The business I tried to start, that failed too.
Yep.
I really had no answer. So poker saved me in so many different ways that I can think of. So to me, the game is always going to be really close to my heart because of that. Like when I had no answer, didn't know how, my life is going to move forward in this new land, especially after we lost everything that was, in Iran. And, the whole purpose of me being here wasn't to be a poker player. We had a very successful import and export company, very successful. And everything went up on the smoke. And it just went, in the war between Iran and Iraq and the revolution, everything else that happened. So to me, poker saved me. I mean, it really did. And it's always been, my life ever since then has always been, directly associated with poker, either as a poker player or being in the poker business. For
sure. I mean, now looking at PokerGO and the quality of production and the hands, and I mean, it's just amazing how detailed and how beautiful the graphics and how everything is. I mean, you must be pretty, to have the PokerGO studio, to have this here, be in Vegas, like you must be pretty special looking back when you used to play 5-card draw or when the first poker came out on TV and where it is today. How does that feel to look back and see where it is now?
It never hurts to get lucky in doing what you love.
Right.
So I felt like I got lucky twice in the business of poker, and like in the play of poker, I wasn't really a tournament player. I never had a windfall. I was absolutely your typical grinder and playing 2,000 hours a year, averaging 2,000 hours a year for almost 20 some years. So I was your ultimate grinder. Never won something big in a tournament. Nothing like that happened to me.
Yeah.
But in the business side of it, it happened twice. So first time when I met with, casually just playing poker with Henry Ornstein, he was a gentleman that
was that 2004?
I met him in 1980,
Oh, okay, a long time.
87, 88
But you
in
did
California.
business in 2004.
Right, but we sort of got together and put the first hole card table together in 1995.
Was that because of Johnny Chan, or was he one of the first ever, like a big
No,
no?
Henry loved playing with us, and we became real good friends. We just became real good friends, and every time he was coming to Vegas, he thought I lived in Los Angeles because I met him there. When he knew I lived in Vegas, he would come to Vegas and play 7-card stud. He loved the game, and he always wanted to look at my hole cards. Like if I throw my hand away, let me see what you have. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't he just was always intrigued to learn. You learn the game by looking how players are playing. And when he watched poker on TV, it was laughable to him. You don't see anything. Like, what good is that? So the idea came to him, let's show people's hole cards. And of course, you can imagine at that time, it would have been laughable to poker players. You ready? You want to see my hole cards? No, it's not happening.
Yeah.
Then, I was pretty good friends with a lot of the poker players, high-limit poker players, people that were respected, like Chip and Doyle and those guys. And I knew once I convinced them, rest will follow suit. So I was able to convince them to show their hole cards, and we would do it. So
is that fair to say you are the reason, like the whole card in poker, that was you're the first ever one to produce.
First time that I got into anything that was a poker business was the whole card, working with Henry. Henry had the idea, let's show the whole cards. And I knew no matter what I say, he's going to keep moving it. Not like he was, once he had an idea in his head, I know the man, he wasn't going to walk away from it.
Right.
So after several phone calls, after several convincing, I said, okay, let's do it. And then sure enough, like 1995, we actually had a table built that I still have it. It's sitting in the storage room.
Oh wow!
It's nicely wrapped so it doesn't get dusty.
That's awesome. And what is that officially the first ever hole card stream or ever displayed in poker?
What we did that table was only for 7-card stud. So cameras were sitting underneath, and we tried. From 1995, 1997, we tried to get, like Nevada Gaming approval. And I just imagine how nervous would it be for them to see that much electronics. They want to see any electronics.
Right, yeah,
no electronics at that time were allowed near any gaming table. Now we are saying we have a table that's rigged completely with nothing but electronics.
Right.
Can we play poker on this? So there was a lot of convincing, a lot of meetings, a lot of assurances. So, but obviously all the hurdles done, you still had TV part of it to work with, and the TV wasn't open to anything.
But was 7-card stud the first ever shown game the whole cards or no?
No, that's what we were trying to do. So the table was built for 7-card stud, and we had cameras around the table. We had there were like quite a few engineers working.
Is it a patent on this to get?
There was a patent on it, but it wasn't good enough to hold others because the patent was specific. So hole cards under the table with certain apparatus that with mirrors and things like that. It was like very, very. It wasn't a broad patent, like showing the players hole cards by any mean. It didn't say that.
Yeah.
So once poker boom started, coming together with the advent of online poker and having someone like we had actually one of the British companies come and license. We have a patent on it, so they licensed it to do a cash game in UK, and that's when Devilfish and those guys were in. I don't know if you remember that.
Yeah, of course.
So that's how it got started, and once it hit Discovery with World Poker Tour, and they also had Lyle Berman and Steve Lipscomb had a meeting with us. They took same thing. They licensed the patent to do the hole cards. But the hole cards, I'm not sure if the first WPT hole cards were from under the table or inside the rail. I think it was under the table. I think ESPN with the World Series was the first time. Of course, they had a lot more engineers, a lot more means to go at it. And they knew that hole cards under the table are hitting the lights up above. There's really very little value except catching the cards.
Okay.
But if they're inside the rail, they were using the rail. I don't know if you've seen the old footage of, you could see the cards and you can see the player across. It's kind of a very cool look.
You almost had to lift it up, right? Because it was inside. It wasn't on the thing. It was coming in, so they had to peel it up
and look like somebody sitting. So that was pretty clever when the TV world came together to make this thing work. And of course, rest is history. So I got lucky with Henry. And later in life, I got lucky with Carrie Katz.
I literally I was tip my tongue. I want to ask because he's like a unicorn. This guy's like not top 10 all time money list now. He loves poker. He made a playground here. Tell me, I got to ask you, Carrie Katz. I want to talk about him, but Carrie Katz or Moneymaker, are those like? Would you say like what Carrie's done for poker and come in with PokerGO and this whole sort of concept? And like Moneymaker, like this type of a thing that happened in 2003. Would you say these are two of the bigger things that happened in poker?
It definitely, Moneymaker definitely like started things up. Like at the time that Moneymaker, story was circulating, so much was new, never seen before to the general public. Like telling the story of poker differently than anything else. It was like, hey, there's a lot of science to it. There's a lot of poker players are not
just pure gambler, riverboat
in the
gamblers.
Old movies with the aces up their sleeves. They're like computer scientists, and like they really are a different group of people. And of course, it's a kind of a game an accountant can come and overtake 9 pros at the table. So there's still some element of luck.
Right.
So which was always intriguing. But at that same time, online pokers were going really strong. TV, like they were getting incredible ratings for poker. And it was essentially like online poker was all over. Like people, college kids were playing. Everybody was playing and talking about it and watching it to learn more. Carrie coming in was at the time that all that went away. Not like
Black Friday, April 15, 2011 stuff. Yeah,
still only had like
sponsors
four
go away,
states.
Money, right?
Yeah, there's only 4 states in the United States. That 5, one is pretty small, but that online poker is being played, and certainly not with like anywhere in the level of it was before. So Carrie coming in with, like obviously Carrie and Henry had one thing in common, their passion for the game. They really loved the game. Right. They love playing it, and they love, getting better and better at it. And they both got Henry won World Series of Poker bracelet events, and Carrie, we all know how much, how successful he's been in the tournaments. So that was there, and they had the means to say, okay, let's take it to another level. So when Carrie came to me, he said, I know you're always traveling, like you're going from one casino to another casino and like building stages and putting it up. What if you had one home that we could bring all of that together? Well, what producer doesn't want that? Obviously that makes it a lot easier, a lot more, less expensive to do things. So that's when we went around and, we were friends with Bobby Baldwin, and with his help and guidance of others, like this studio came together, and I know everyone that comes to the PokerGO studio.
It's honestly, but how did you, that location's so perfect too, attached to the Aria that walks over, it's tied in with the casino, it's there, like that space just seems like insane.
Never hurts to get lucky. That's
crazy.
The only thing I can tell you. Never hurts.
How that nice that is.
You can put yourself in the line of getting lucky and not get lucky.
Right.
But you have to put yourself in that line.
Right.
And, we were out front, we were looking, and we were eager, and then we got lucky. And, knowing Bobby, and it was actually, he said, what if we do the stores? The stores, nobody was like, we weren't thinking of that.
Right. Bobby's an innovator, legend, absolutely. How long have you known Bobby Baldwin?
A long time.
Is that the 80s in here?
When he was a host at the Golden Nugget.
Wow.
So he became the president of Golden Nugget. I was playing at the Golden Nugget at that time.
Is poker so interesting to me, where you meet so many different people in different industries, different things, and seeing sort of like the Vegas. I want to talk about the Mirage as well, like how that's. Or is it was it Mirage that's coming down?
Mirage.
Mirage. Yes. And like you've seen these different things change, but just with people, like you said, this guy Henry, or certain people, just like they have this knack, ability, and just are going to go, like, for knowing him as a host and then seeing what he's done, Bobby Baldwin, like is it kind of obvious when certain people just have it, like to know someone and then see what he's done, like do you get that feeling?
Like if you ask me, just name random business people that came from outside of poker and help poker get to levels that poker players never thought it was possible. I would say, again, like somebody like Jack Minion. To me, Jack Minion was from our gaming industry. So yes, he wasn't exactly like I would say that it was amazing that they wanted, the Minion family wanted to start the World Series, and look where World Series at right now. So they didn't have to do that if they didn't love the game.
Right.
Then you come like a person like Henry Ornstein, Lyle Berman, for example. Let's get the WPT going, or Carrie Katz coming and saying, let's just have a different tour started. Let's have content and production, and then network. Let's just start a network for poker. So all of that is coming from people that really love the game, that have serious passion for it. And they see it from different aspects that poker players are seeing it. Poker players are obviously, we are in our own bubble of playing, growing the game. You need different kind of mindset. And we were lucky enough to run into those guys.
Right. Yeah, it's luck and with preparation meets opportunity. This type of the thought is crazy. And out of all the main event winners, all the times where different things have happened, Moneymaker, of course, in 03, and that name and beating the pro, Farha. Is there any other moments or years that stand out where it was just, you feel like it was a special main event or just some like storyline was incredible?
Every single main event is a special moment for, I can't imagine somebody, yes, there've been some winners that they get more animated than others, but every single main event, like even this coming up, I know it's going to be 10 days from now.
Yep.
You can't wait to see. It doesn't matter who that person is. That person could be Phil Ivey, Danny Negreanu, Phil Hellmuth, or someone completely random.
Right.
And it's going to be a special moment. It's just the gravity that it has.
Now, that's a question. If you could pick, is it more impactful for poker or more, for TV or just for the narrative? Is it a Hellmuth somehow winning the main, or Negreanu, he had that he got final table bubbles, like this type of stuff? Or is it like a personality, someone that's just so interesting or unique that wins? What's more of a better, would you say?
I'd like to see one of our top pros win the main event. And the reason for that is everybody understands that, when you have 10,000 plus players playing, someone who is probably not known even in the world of poker is going to win it because there's more of them. Yeah. But it's kind of, to me, it's kind of let's have one of our heroes win it too. Right. That's.
It's so interesting because it's like a Super Bowl or like a moment in time, because to win a bracelet or to win the main, to get there, you just probably will never be back. Then there's been someone who's 2 years in a row got 9th place, right, out of like huge fields, this type of thing. But also like the difference in winning versus second. Joe Hashim's been on my podcast, Moneymaker. I've had a ton of main event winners on, Joe Cotta, you name it, Ryan Reese, right? These type of things. But the second place, for example, Steve Daneman, who great guy, that like the note card, like writing down his rules. He's my accountant. He does my taxes, and like he loves poker and he's great. But Hashim wins, and like what that does, that difference for Australia, the fact that he's an Australian and he takes first, and now he's like PokerStars main guy, and kind of the butterfly effect of the difference in like what really happens. It's kind of interesting. It feels like at the right time, certain ambassadors, like that was a big deal, right, for Australia. I'm sure he took it off the map in there. So it's kind of funny to see some of these, like how it goes, the first for second, or how you're like the champion forever. So you can't really pick like favorites. You really, this all is like, you love it.
I really don't. Obviously Moneymaker was started.
Is it different? How big? What would happen if he had taken second? How much big of a difference? Like, can you even calibrate how different that might be?
It would have been quite. Look, if Sammy Farha won it, Sammy Farha was a known poker player then, or any of the 9 players that were left, they wanted people to say, okay, of course, the poker players win it, and this guy had a Cinderella story that came in and came close, but sorry. Yeah. Winning it is just clearly told the whole world, you have a chance. Right. If I'm not a professional poker player, I'm an accountant, I come in there and end up in a table of 9 pros, right, and just beat one after another and like hold that bracelet up. So can you. So that message was a great message to you.
And how about the Jamie Gold year? He's showing cards, he's doing all this, he's kind of pushing the boundaries, and I feel like new rules kind of came in place, and he's sort of like pushed the boundaries on all that. But
very similar.
What was the best ratings? What have been some of the top couple rated years?
I think Jamie Gold's was the highest rating. Again, rating is a little bit tricky business, because a network like ESPN owns poker. If they put promotions behind it, if they put tune-ins behind it, they're going to get better rating. I'm not saying they did this, but if we take the main events of this year and follow it up right after Super Bowl, I'm just hypothetical. we may get 30 million people watch it.
Right.
Okay, so that's not because like we did something.
The characters
that's
or what's
just
happened, or the editing's better.
The TV shuffle.
There's a lot of luck. I think that's something else I want to ask you about. Understanding, you said about luck, and you come over, you get put in Portland, you meet your wife now, right? And you're 45 years, and then you go, you find poker, you have a game, you do well at it, versus maybe running bad for the first. Do you think that poker gives you a better perspective on life and variance and luck, because it's every day, right? We're lucky in various ways or not, and in poker it kind of exemplifies it puts it in your face. On a day like you bust the main, or something happens, but there's luck everywhere, and whatever you're doing at all times. How do you feel it's helped you to sort of like calibrate that in life, to understand a bit more variance and
it
luck?
is definitely game of life. I mean, game of poker is definitely game of life. It is. You got to learn how to ride the waves.
Yep.
Like it doesn't matter what you do in life. There's always going to be ups and downs, and how do you handle them?
Yep.
Is what life is all about. Anyone tells you that I've never had any problem in life.
Well, I tell you, my dad, he says to me, it really stood out with me. He said, to lose as if you like it and win as if you expect it. And I think that's very powerful, because at a table, you can, sure, there's a Helmuth of the world, the antics, and they're the poker brat and whatever. But, when you're playing a home game or you're somewhere and you see someone lose, take a bad beat, and they're, cursing the dealer and throwing cards and, going crazy, versus someone who takes a beat and like kind of handles it or says nice hand to the opponent and means it. Like you can kind of, it's like golf, right? You can tell a lot about someone when you go golf. Do they cheat? Do they bend the rules? Are they happy for your success?
Right.
How, like all these things, I think it just kind of like pushes it in your face in a condensed area that you kind of get to learn a lot about people. And I think that's what's really cool.
I agree. I'm not saying poker is the only game.
Right.
It's game of life. There's many, but I wouldn't call like chess being a game of life, because there's hardly any luck, in
Right.
it. So
Yeah.
once you have the right combination of luck and skill, and
Yep.
then you have your game of life. And to me, it came maybe a little bit easier to cope with the ups and downs of poker because of what happened to me at the young age of 19, 20.
Yeah.
The whole, everything that we had went up in the smoke. So I could see like one day your life can be done. My father passed away of a heart attack.
Yep.
And then like 1979, after that, everything that I was used to and grew up with, they were gone. Like somebody turned off the lights on me.
Yeah.
Like, okay, you have nothing. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
So we know that can happen in poker, some form of shape. Like you can run really unlucky for 6 or 7 months and lose your entire bankroll. Now what are you going to do?
Yeah.
Your true character is going to show up. Are you going to be like making up stories, borrowing money from people and disappearing on them? Or what are you going to do when that happens to you?
Yeah.
How honest can you be with people at that time?
Yep.
So, yes, it does show your character. It does. Absolutely. It reveals a lot, like you mentioned golf.
Yeah.
So, this has been an incredible ride for me. And let me just put it that way. I'm seeing this stage that you have here. I see the Mirage there.
Mm-hmm.
The Flamingo and the Mirage.
Yeah.
And I don't know, like, if you guys can see it. And, Mirage opened up 1989, and we moved 1998 to Bellagio. That 10 years was the most amazing. There's so much happened that 10 years.
Yeah.
So much. And we know Mirage is closing.
Yeah, the Hard
next 10
Rock's
days.
going to go up by 2027.
So I actually went there to have breakfast 3 days ago.
Yep.
I went there at 6:30 in the morning. I couldn't leave for an hour.
Wow.
Or longer after breakfast.
Just
I
a lot
just
of
have
memories.
to walk around. And memories came just storming in. Like it was amazing. Like even the poker room is gone. There's like a lounge area and all that. But I knew exactly where I was walking.
Right.
And I could hear the noises. I could hear. No poker room like Mirage, in my opinion, will ever happen again.
Wow.
Because I don't know if when you have seen the old poker room, I don't think you were there.
They had a WPT there maybe at some point or something. I never. I don't think I've ever.
The old poker room was there. Like entered the main
yeah.
entrance of the Mirage and walked through the rainforest, and the first thing that came into your face was poker. That doesn't happen. I mean, and rightfully so. Casinos don't make the kind of money that they make from
Do they
poker.
have even any tables there right now? Like
There's none.
There's no poker table
They
there.
closed the poker room. They made it smaller. They moved it to another area, made it smaller, then closed it. But I'm just, poker business for a casino is a necessary business because
Yep.
Poker, your customers that want to play poker,
I was just talking about this. It's so true because of course it's slots and this and that doesn't make the money, but you gotta people like it. They want to maybe they're gonna stay there and gamble there because there's a poker room they want to play a bit and it's convenient. That is, I think there was some rooms were closing and then they realized they were like, oh, it's not profitable or it's not like bottom line, but then they were like, oh, why are these other casinos that have poker, why are their numbers going up and doing better?
Always look for the synergy.
Yep.
It's not just what you make. And I mean, poker room make decent money. Don't get me wrong. But and the economics of it, you have to have so many tables. Like I don't know, if like minimum 14, 15, 16 tables for a poker room to be like sustainable. But even then, even if you have like a few tables, the key customers that like to play poker, they're going to find a casino that has a poker room and play. And then, like in their other times, they're going to be rolling into playing blackjack or, making sports bets, whatever they want to do. So it's necessary for a complete package to have a poker room in there. And Mirage's poker room was definitely one of a kind. I mean, you talk about being in the middle of the pit. It felt like, you took the poker room and they were designing it and say, you know what? You're just going to put this right where all the foot traffic is.
That's cool.
We've had games like at 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning, strangers walk in. It would never happen.
Right.
And, asking for big games. It wasn't small games. There's strange, is there a seat open here? Or can we play this? Or what are you playing? And sit down. That was special about that room.
That's cool. I've been there maybe once. I'd like to, since it's going to go down. When are they tearing it down soon?
I think it's like 10 days.
Oh.
It's going to be closed for 3 years.
Wow.
And then the whole thing will change to Hard Rock.
Yeah, I'm gonna maybe need to go back in there one day, take a look around. That's pretty cool.
It was emotional for me. It really was. Yeah. I mean, it was there's just so many memories there. It was amazing.
And speaking about emotional, I got to ask about the Hall of Fame, 2018. I believe you're the 55th or 56th. It was with John Hennigan, and you're introduced. There's 28 maybe like for playing, and then the 18 if it's for the I don't know the correct wording on how for. And you get in. What was that like to get introduced into the Hall of Fame? Was it a shock, or were you expecting it?
It was definitely. I had some, I knew that I was in the running, but I was also not expecting, the list of people there.
Yeah.
That one of them would be me. So it was. I was hoping someday would happen. Like all of us always hope someday. We're in the Poker Hall of Fame, but not that year. So it was kind of a surprise that, oh my God, it is. And as soon as Ali and Nick started acting a little weird, asking the questions, I said, I knew this was coming. They setting me up. And now I called John Hennigan my half brother.
That's awesome.
Not half, half. Hall of Fame.
Hall of Fame, yes.
So he's my half brother.
That's awesome.
That's his nickname to me now.
And tell me the Hall of Fame, because I've seen a lot more talk and debate about it, because it is kind of one of those things where what's 2 a year? Is that right? Two get picked, and there's now with poker sort of booming, and you have to be 40. Even the conversation now, I think Nick or Osmus and Scott Seaver, and even Mike Mattisau's on the ballot, Antonius this year, and it gets kind of realizing that at a certain point, some of these guys and the records are so crazy. These people have won 50 million, 60 million. We're all kind of in the 30s, late 30s and such. It's going to get clogged up. What's your thoughts on the Hall of Fame? Should more be in? Should there be a content side?
100% should be more. I mean, there's no reason to drag it on. If somebody deserves to be in the Poker Hall of Fame, they should be in the Poker Hall of Fame.
Right.
It doesn't.
You want to keep it prestigious, but also there's certain people you can't imagine them not being in.
Say this year, because of what you're describing, we're going to have six nominee, or we're going to pick 6 people.
Right. Is that what you predict will happen? Are they going to open it up at some point? They'll have to.
As poker grows, it would definitely happen. It's not a small number of people anymore. Like you said, there's a lot of players out there, a lot of people in the industry that really deserve to be in there.
And when you say industry and versus playing, how do you approach that? Do you think there should be a separate one for content or for something else and just playing, or is it all mixed in one, or how would you?
To me, anyone in the industry that helps to move the ship forward should be in the Poker Hall of Fame. That's what I would put it in. I mean, starting again from Jack Binions and coming all the way to Carrie Katz and even Isai or anyone that's helped poker to become what it is now. They deserve to have a space in there.
Very, very interesting. And what are you most bullish, excited about? Because online poker, states are coming online again. It does seem like the mystery bounties. There's stuff going, you know, knockout tournaments. It's sort of finding to get a little more exciting. Then live, the record last year. I want to get your prediction on the main event this year. As day 1D, I haven't seen the entrance so far. Maybe you know already what is entered today.
I don't have that
roughly,
number yet.
but
and of course they can still register on top of day 2.
AA, 2A and B, or there's 2 days. Yeah, exactly.
Right.
So do you think it'll get over 10,000 this year?
I'm hopeful. I put the number just, you know, like for no rhyme or reason.
Right.
I put the number at 10,111.
Okay.
Just to have a lot of ones on it.
Yeah, good.
And I had 2 people bet me over that are pretty much in the middle of WSOP. Like they keep track of everything. So hopefully it happens. I don't know. Like, but yeah, you know, main event going from 10,048 to, even if it goes down to like under 10,000.
9,400 or something. It's still
that's not
big.
That,
yeah, it's
I
big.
mean, to
it
me,
means it's popular.
you know, they, you know, like it can have a lot to do with the world's economy and everything else. So you can't just say, oh my God, poker is going back forward. Poker is definitely going forward.
Yeah.
With all the obstacles that are in front of us, with the regulators, it is amazing how many poker players we're still seeing. You know, it's a game that you just can't kill. It's a game that, you know, like
I say this as well. Exactly. It's people, no matter whether it's 5-card draw, 7-card stud, 6+ short deck, you know, mystery bounties. People love to gamble and have fun, and luck and skill. So I think there's going to be games. So it'll be something else. 5-card, 6-card, high low, big O. You know, it is. Mixed games are growing in popularity. I think it's always going to be always going to be.
Just come about like 10 years ago. It's been around for a couple of thousand years.
Yeah, people love to gamble on something.
It's not going anywhere.
Yeah, and your focus. Do you have any? Do you see yourself? How long do you think you would like to be in the same role you're in now? Do you want to step back, maybe go play poker more, travel, tournaments, cash games? What's sort of your passion?
I love playing poker. There's no question. But I also love doing what I'm doing, and I will continue doing as long as, you know, like I feel like I'm contributing. As soon as I feel like I'm slowing everyone down, I will step down.
Well, yeah, it seems like everything's going amazing, and it's like everything's exciting and fun. Do you want to move? Like, is there some project I want to go internationally, or I want to do other things, or you just have such a good setup here now with PokerGO and the studio and the hub, and like what do you want to do, like in terms of staying put or traveling? What do you prefer?
I think there's definitely a lot smarter people than me that's making decisions. You know, like how to expand international and everything else. I mean, obviously, if they ever need, you know, production advice, if they need, you know, I can't exactly give them business advice. I don't qualify myself saying that, hey, you know what, let's go to Europe and start, you know, something there. And I just don't know how that would do.
Right.
You know, how that business model would work, how that'd be profitable. But if they have the vision, and if they decide, okay, this is what we're going to have 10 events in Europe, and then culminating into one European Championship, I would love to be involved with that.
Right. Yeah. And do you, if you had to pinpoint one or two, you know, it's actually very interesting. You can kind of compare to other games and how, you know, maybe in the NFL they change the kickoff rule, or in hockey they make the goal bigger or smaller. You know, these type of baseball, they just trim the clock on the pitchers. Like, this is a game that's been around forever, and they make a huge difference. It shortens the game. The shot clock in poker or the big blind ante, I want to know who kind of gets credit for those things, and are those two of the more better things for poker in terms of adjustments in the game? And is there anything else you predict that could be a good adjustment coming up?
Well, we had a TDA meeting in the studio last week.
That's Tournament Directors Association. Right?
And I was always running around during WSOP. I had a chance like listen to bits and pieces of it. This is what I saw, and I really loved it. I saw that the like group of maybe 200 people, and if I had asked how many of them had dealt before, and probably like 50% of hands will go up. How many of them had played before? Maybe even more. How many of them had, you know, like done any kind of supervisory role? I would have seen a lot.
Yeah.
It is that kind of a mix that should make the decision. That they've come from all aspect of this game, not just, you know, group of players making a decision they'll be thinking what is best for us, or a group of dealers or supervisors or tournament directors. But if there's a mix that have experienced all of the different parts of poker making decision, I would respect that. So shot clock, for example, I mean, if you'd asked me like 10, 15 years ago about shot clock, I would say, no, please don't do that, because poker doesn't, you know, like, especially for TV, The moment that you put somebody in agony for all their chips or like $300,000 bet in their face, let them think as long as they want. There were times at the high stakes poker, as you know, it's all edited shows. You know, like players played 8 hours, 10 hours in the old days, and we cut it down to 13 hours season or something like that. But there were times a hand happened that we didn't cut any of it, just because just the pain that person was, you know, feeling.
Right.
It was transmitting outside of their TV tube into, you know, like you and, you know, bringing you into the game.
Right.
So if you put a shot clock on that, I kept saying, oh my God, those moments are going to be gone.
Yeah.
But I'm totally like on the other side of it now. We need the shot clock. We need it because people have started abusing it. People have started, you know, like the benefit of it is a lot more than, you know, yes, there's still some games, some cash games that we don't have shot clock, but in tournament format, 100%
right.
it's needed.
In the big blind ante, who gets credit for that?
Big blind, I don't know, but whoever did it was very intelligent. I've asked players before, like, how do we slow down, for example, the bubble?
Yeah.
You know, when the bubble happens, you know, like everything comes to standstill, and you know, it's just going so slow, hand per hand, you know. And one of the players, and I told him if this happens, I'm going to give him full credit. He said, "Why don't you just take the last 10 shortest stack and bring him to one table and play a turbo 10 minutes?"
Oh wow,
you know,
that's
like,
interesting.
to see who goes out next, and that's the you know, if you want to like keep going. I thought, you know, like, you know, there's. Players are very creative.
Yeah. Now there's stand-up game or the squid game, these type of things that make it kind of exciting, fun, and variations. Yeah.
Trust me. If again, you take me back 25 years or 30 years now. If you ask me about mixed game, even though I was the person that actually called horse, you know, like I put the HORSE together to make it horse.
Yeah.
I didn't really like playing it because I thought, you know, like you're not giving the people a chance to go on tilt.
Right.
Just by changing the game. You know, if you're losing a few hands and hold them, and then it changes to Omaha, your tilt factor is gone. It's a new game.
Right.
And then goes to Raz, completely different. You know, like, well, if you lose and you're on tilt, you're playing every hand. You can't come back and play every hand in Raz. You know, so I didn't like that aspect of it, the psychological part of the mixed games. And I said, you know, I love playing mixed game now. Like you throw me in the poker room, I'm attracted more towards mixed games than anything else.
For sure. And I got to ask, the personalities, you've gotten this be with, you know, you've done with everyone. You've done all the high stakes shows. You've done high stakes poker. You've done the biggest production shows in the world, and you've met the biggest personalities. Is it on camera? Are oftentimes the characters, do they match off the camera kind of personalities, or is it are you a little surprised sometimes with how they're portrayed and how they really are?
I can't even think of any player that's different. I mean, at least the ones that I've associated with that come to the shows, different off the camera. I mean, they're the same. That's what makes it so natural, I think.
It is funny. I mean, I've played on shows and different, you know, streams and stuff. You kind of forget, like initially you're on TV and you're like, you kind of feel a little, you know, oh, I'm doing it. But then once you kind of get in, it's just sort of like you're playing, you kind of forget about it. And it's just.
I mean, Antonio is a good example.
Yeah.
Oh, every time like he's on a camera, he's trying to do something. I remember this one hand that they're playing deuce, and then he had the deuce. He had deuce 7, and he's telling them, okay, you know, like I'll let you off for 100. I'll let you off for like he's always. He invited us to go to lunch when we were doing World Series of Poker in Asia Pacific in Melbourne, and same thing. Antonio was the same guy. He bet the poor waiter. They
want to flip for the tip.
Yeah.
Literally he'll say, I'll double your tip.
He had $300 tip or $500 tip, whatever. Yeah. He put $1,000 here and $500 in the other side. He said, look, this is your tip. You can take the 500 and gone. It's good. Or we can flip.
Double or nothing.
And you take 1,500. It wasn't double or nothing.
Oh, that one. I've seen him do it all, So he's one of my best friends.
Or
he's a
you
character.
can flip, and if you win, you get both these tips. You get 1,500. And poor waiter, what are you gonna say? Like he got the permission from his manager.
Oh no, I've been with him plenty of times where it's literally like he'll do like double or nothing. He'll give him a little juice or something, and he wants to see the pain.
Of course,
he likes to see them. Yeah, it's great.
He takes it from poker table into the real world.
Yeah,
and I've seen that just about in the golf course with some of the players. Like Nick Schulman is Nick Schulman. Like whether he's doing commentary or playing poker. It's just his character doesn't change.
Yeah, and give me one of your crazier, maybe, I don't know, either a golf story, gambling story, prop bet. Like you've seen and heard probably everything. You've been in Vegas for so long. Give me like one that's just like something you still can't believe to this day.
I mean, there's quite a few, but I don't know. We were talking about golf, and you know, I want to take you guys back to the old Las Vegas.
Yeah.
And this is when a gentleman who's not around, who passed away a long time ago. His name was Tommy Fisher.
Okay.
And Tommy was an absolute greatest golf hustler you've ever seen. He was like 5'2", and nobody could beat him. You know, just nobody could beat him. He was very, very good. And Tommy would made a bet with Sean Chacon and Eric Lindgren that they scrambled against him if they let him throw the ball one time at you know, like no stroke. He just picks up the ball and throws it. Mm-hmm. And you know, he'll play them for whatever they want to play, but they give him that advantage.
Okay.
And you know, immediately people are thinking that he's going to pick up the ball on the first tee and throw it, like try to gain 30, 40 yards.
Yeah.
And of course, both Shiki and Lindgren were much longer than Tommy hitting the ball, so
yeah,
they went for it, not realizing that what that meant. And you know, if you think about it, like, let me throw the ball one time.
Yeah,
it's never going to happen off the tee. It's going to happen everywhere else. Every single. I mean, he's going to like shoot in the 50s every time.
Wow. Oh, so yeah. Oh, wow.
If you just
and they bet a good size money, and he really picked
and then
them
they
up.
settled, of course, before they played. And then, you know, after it was explained to them that, you know, okay, so every single par 3 is now birdie, and every single par 5 is an eagle, and, you know, look at how are you guys going to beat them?
you probably I mean, it's got to be. And again, being around, whether you're firsthand or you hear about it, or people at the tables talking, there's just so many crazy bets and prop bets and stuff over the years. That's it's fun.
Yeah, I mean, I can think of 1,000 of them. I mean, I don't know why that came to my mind.
Yeah, no, but that is interesting. Yeah, the wording and the verbiage and the creativity, and there are some historically just unbelievable gamblers and sharp, and you know, you can toe the line, what ethical, not you gray area, not you know, people taking advantage. But it's Vegas is an interesting place. And do you love Vegas? Like, are you just, this is your home? You've been here for how many years now? Since the 80s?
Since 1984.
And how is today? Are you like what? How like it's so different. There's sports teams coming in, UFC, the Sphere, all this. Does it surprise you ever? Or is it always something new and crazy?
Well, Vegas has always reinvented itself. You know, from no matter what has happened, that, you know, gambling is not something that's necessary in life. You know, it's not one of the must-haves. So when the economy goes bad, or some unfortunate thing like 9/11 happens.
Yeah.
You know, you can immediately, like when 9/11 happened, we kept driving to Los Angeles to play poker, but there's no poker here. Like, nobody was traveling, nobody was. Somehow, this city had always been able to reinvent itself. You know, and you know, bring it back more, bigger and more. So it is amazing. It's quite different. I mean, playing the game is different. The city looks so different. Coming to you know, different parts of the city takes sometimes over an hour and a half drive. You know, like it was on when I came here. There was no such thing, of course. But it's now a big city. It's just a big city, and it's still a wonderful city.
It is awesome. Give me a couple. If someone visiting Vegas, any hot restaurant tips or new or cool spots?
I don't want to give them restaurant tips. I want people that are visiting Vegas go outside of Vegas, find the nature around it. Yeah, because you know, like. Yeah, Strip is beautiful. The casinos are amazing. Yeah. I mean, they're so different. I would say, and the food, I've been many places in the world now. I would put Vegas in the top 5 anywhere in the world as far as the food and restaurants. They're all here. You know, it's amazing. But go to Red Rock, go to Valley of Fire, go to Zion. That's not that far from here.
Yeah.
You know, like, see, if you're here for a week, you know, like, take a day or two and see like what surrounds the city. It's amazing. For sure.
And I want to, one of my last questions is about the WSOP GG. I know there's a lot of rumors GG wants to buy it. You know, the WSOP might get bought in this deal. Do you think that's good for poker? And do you predict there to be some merging of things sort of coming together as the sites over the years? You've seen it. PokerStars the biggest, and GG and this and different things are happening. Like, what's your prediction sort of on
I've never been really involved in, you know, like we were discussing before, in the business side of things. You know, I mean, I just don't qualify, you know, like...
you're here. You kind of know what's going on.
I mean, if anything like that happens, obviously it's happening for the good of the business. And if the good of the business is good for the poker and good for production, good for content, good for everything. So if, for example, if that happens and then it culminates into maybe regulations changing, maybe like, you know, a few more states open up, I mean, that's just great for us.
Yeah.
Great for poker players and great for production. There's going to be more demands of content. There's going to be linear TVs. Interest is going to peak again because advertisers are coming back. So just the chain effect of any big deal in poker is good.
And tell me, last question. Well, I always say that and I think of something else, but the state of poker today, 2024 versus Moneymaker like 03, Black Friday 11, kind of give me sort of your thoughts on where we are today versus the peak, and what was in your mind the peak, and have we seen the peak yet?
I was asked in 2010, after the whole collapse of many things, what I thought poker was going to, where poker was going to be, and I predicted there's going to be more content than before, and I would say we are not even 1/10 of the way. I think poker is going to grow 10-fold from where we are. That's what I think.
Wow.
It's going to take a while, maybe not my lifetime, but it's the game.
Mm-hmm.
The game. It's not. Yes.
Well, there's now too with YouTube, Twitch, podcasts, short form, TikTok,
Right.
all that. Like it does feel like things are sort of with AI or technology, and things are just kind of more information. People are getting to have a better idea where it is and what's going on. It does seem like it is sort of like there's definitely it's been a lot from 08 or 9 or 03
Right.
to now 2024. Like how many people are doing poker or sort of into it. It seems like it's getting less taboo, more accepted, a little more less back alley feeling towards it.
Of course. And then, there's so many different views of poker, charity poker, celebrity poker, and different ways of, bringing it to the masses. And then there's going to be the tournaments that are coming up, like the World Series, like the World Poker Tour, and a PokerGO Tour, like all professional tours and things like that. There's going to be just ideas keep pushing it forward. There's no reason for it to slow down.
And I don't know if I can ask you this. Maybe this is too personal in the sense of you have so many relationships and great friends. But if you had to pick a Mount Rushmore for poker, like whatever that means, players, like the original guy, the guy you mentioned a few names, you've done stuff. Like I'm just saying, if you had to if you just asked you that, who's around Mount Rushmore of poker? Could you even answer that, or would it be too much?
I would put
alienating?
more than 4 faces in there.
Okay.
I mean, I think Mount Rushmore of poker is probably have like a couple of dozen. I have friends from way back that were pulling poker forward when there was no internet, there's no TV, no nothing, and there was just hard work pulling the whole thing forward for us, making
Right.
it grow. I can think about it and put in like 24 names that are well deserved to be in there.
Okay, so it's a little bigger than you can't do 4.
Yeah,
You
no,
win
4
or
is
5
4
or-
is not fair to a lot of people.
Right. It would be. Yeah.
I mean, every time somebody asks me, it's just so unfair to say, Poker After Dark was me, high stakes poker. It was me and another couple of dozen people much smarter than me that understood many aspects of, like TV and everything else to bring it together.
What has been your number one favorite show that you've produced or been a part
High
of?
stakes poker.
High stakes poker.
Yeah, it's just because I was always a cash game player, and when I was asked about possibility, it was just a snap yes. When the network asked, "Do you think a cash game would work?" I said, "Absolutely, it would work.
Yeah.
Yes, it would work." And it's the real thing.
Yeah.
I mean, to me, it was just like down
Pure,
and dirty
the
poker.
pure form,
Exactly.
Yeah, right there.
Tournaments are exciting, but cash games are captivating.
Yeah, interesting. Really, really interesting. And so today, give me your closing statement here on the state of poker today. Where are we? Is it in a great place, good place? How are your thoughts?
It's in a really good place. I would say, if I have like one parting comment, if I was leaving retirement, I would beg all the professional poker players to play their part in making the game, get bigger and more acceptable. Make sure the game is honest. Make sure all the bad seeds are weeded out and gone. We don't need them. I mean, they just keep pulling us back, and it's happening now. It happened in the past. Wherever there's big money involved, there's going to be always shady characters. Get rid of them.
Yeah.
Just don't have any mercy. There's no room for them. There's absolutely no room.
And I said, okay, so now just again, 2 things you might not be able to talk on, but because of your understanding and of production and understanding of hole cards and things. And again, if you just curious, if when I say there's two that stand out to me, Mike Postle and Robbie J. Lou. These were like unbelievable amount of press content. You know, people are. It was like, oh, hey, Mike Postle cheated. It's as a poker player, that's what my camp, my people, the information I get, and what seems to be the unanimous thoughts. Like there's no, I mean, it's just crazy. Like because obviously it's a bit of a double-edged sword. It's crazy, right? If you're talking about, all right, where are you safe to play online if people collude or cheat? Are you safe in a casino? People can do signaling or some type of stuff. Now we're talking about production, which obviously game integrity and that with the whole cards. There's that you said it took forever, right? That back in the day, and like that's a concern. Now there's people seeing cards and what information, all this. When I say that to you, Mike Postle, what comes to mind? Or if you do, can you even say?
It's very important that when you hire people that are sitting in the live graphics room, you trust them. Don't just hire anyone.
Right.
So when I first started, obviously to me that was absolutely the most important thing to do, because if that failed, the whole thing failed. And I had my family working there.
Yeah.
I had my son-in-law, my daughter, my son actually like.
You have to trust someone somewhere.
Yeah,
they have to trust you then.
Correct.
I mean, I'm not your fan. You're hiring your family, but like you then are getting put in charge of the integrity.
Of course, yeah. So, I mean, at that time, of course, they still like in Nevada. Something like that happen. If anything goes wrong in Nevada, and you get handcuffed, put on, and taken to jail. So it's different laws here if you get caught cheating or any way or shape. But still, I thought it'll bring the industry down. By industry, I don't mean poker industry. I meant the television and production industry down. So I would say yes, true. There's going to be a lot of when you're hiring people to have access to the live graphics room, they will be vetted by Nevada Gaming, and they would have their background check and everything else. But don't bring just anyone. Still, anyone can get bought out. Look, if you feel like the character is weak, don't bring him in there. Now make sure your people that you find you trust 100%.
And again, so I totally understand if you can't give a statement or position, and this is from a while ago, just kind of thought of it as this is your world and you understand how intricate it is and how what has to be done and how it's insured to make sure it's legit. Do you or can you say something on these two
I
things?
feel it's unfair for me to say anything unless I was there and I saw their setup and actually see exactly what everything is located before
listen, and Mori, again, I don't want to put you on the spot.
No.
And I'm saying, gun to your head, if someone said, what is your opinion of Mike Postle? Do you think he was something wrong there?
I mean, I hate to say,
So I don't want to,
obviously as a poker player, you feel like something was wrong.
Right.
100%.
Yeah.
You feel something is wrong when somebody's making a big call with Jack High, and it makes no sense. When something's not making sense, somebody's making a play. As a poker player, you're always going to be jumping up and down saying, hey, foul play, foul play.
Well, I mean, Doug Polk and Joey Ingram guys, people went deep into it, reviewed so much footage, and there were so many different things. So, as someone who gets presented, it does feel,
of course,
to the outside public who may not understand, or someone who understands poker, you're going to have a different opinion probably.
But to me, I had to actually step in there and walk in there and look at the setup and see how they're doing it. Have an opinion, but I can't really have an opinion.
And same with the Robbie J. Lou. It's a big high profile. You can't really, there's no way to really know. You just can guess.
No way to know. I mean, but as a poker player, yes. As a poker player, I can jump up and down and say, hey, kid, that didn't make sense. Okay, come on. That's what the hell is going on?
Yeah.
That didn't make sense.
Of course. Okay. Well, I think that we'll leave it at that. That is, again, Maury, it's so much. I have to have you on again, and I know this is a super busy, crazy time with the main event going on. Exciting. We'll see. I'm in there short stack at 30K day 2, and it's fun, right? It's just a story. Anything can happen. You've seen it. People come back from one big blind to win the tournament. You see pros, amateurs, people. It's an amazing thing, and such high production quality. It's really, really cool. That again, Maury is the guy. Been around. You heard it from the start. Kind of one of the Hall of Famer. Just gets so much credit for everything. As you said, though, such great teams, so much had to happen for this to work and for poker to get this type of production. But again, it's a pleasure to have you on. Appreciate the time, and we'll be playing in Vegas, and I hope maybe it's too bad in Miami. I live in Miami. I love the Hard Rock or some of these places to get there. I don't feel like there's a Miami really big poker content production scene. Is that something possible? Could PokerGo?
Of course
They were looking
it
at
is.
doing something, I think, at the Hard Rock.
That's what I'm saying. But once the regulations open up, who knows what can happen in California and New York and Florida.
Texas.
Yeah,
now there's the one
Texas
in the
Open,
Poker guys just did it
we
there.
were there in Texas.
Yep.
Yeah,
You just did the event
that'll
there
be
at the
really
Champions
fun
Club.
thing. That'll be super fun. And I expect to see you July 17th on the main stage.
Listen, hey, this would be a great clip. I don't. Yeah, we'll see what happens, and we'll have Mori on again in the future. Appreciate it. And where can people follow along? Do you do personal stuff? I know you're. Everyone knows you. They call you Uncle. Yeah. You're like everyone in Vegas knows you. Everyone in poker knows you. Is there somewhere that you do any kind of? I know you're not streaming on Twitch. No. Do you do any kind of any way
I'm
people
not
can
on
follow
social
along?
media. I'm not.
Okay,
yeah.
Fair enough. We'll see.
Someday, maybe.
Someday that'll be maybe after you're done with this,
yeah,
you'll
exactly.
become a content creator.
It'll be a full-time job.
Well, there you go. You had it. The Flow Show, episode number 205. Mori Eskandani in the books. We appreciate the time. We are here from Las Vegas Live, and another main event story to be told here in the coming days. A long main event till July 18th or 17th. 17th. That is when it culminates, and it is a grind, and there's a lot more poker to play. Take a look at PokerGo, check it out, and we will have more information with you guys for that and put the show more. You should get a subscription. PokerGo, it's real affordable. It's $99 a year or something.
$99 a year is a really...
a bargain.
It's the best deal.
You heard it first. All right, Mori. Appreciate the time. Thanks again.